This dough gets literally slapped against a 500-degree clay wall, and it just sticks. 5 legendary breads that in 2026 are still made with ancient techniques. And one of them looks like it's actually breathing. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly how they pull this off, and which of these 5 has the absolute wildest method. We start in Ethiopia. This is Injera. No packet yeast, no machines, just wild fermentation. They mix teff flour with water, and then they leave it alone for 2, sometimes 3 full days. What happens next feels almost alive. The batter starts bubbling on its own. Hundreds of tiny holes appear, the famous eyes. These holes are what make injera so perfect for scooping up stews. Then the batter gets poured onto a big hot clay plate called a mitad. It cooks into this soft, slightly sour, spongy flatbread. In 2026, injera is still the everyday bread for millions of people in Ethiopia and across the diaspora. Once you try real injera, you immediately understand why this technique never died. Next stop, Georgia. This one looks almost impossible the first time you see it. The baker takes a long piece of dough, and in one smooth, confident motion, he slaps it hard against the glowing inside wall of a tone, a traditional vertical clay oven. If he times it right, the dough sticks perfectly. If he gets it wrong, it drops straight into the hot ashes at the bottom. The heat inside that oven is insane. In just a few minutes, the bread is ready, covered in those beautiful blistered bubbles. This is called Shoti, and in 2026, you'll still find bakers all over Georgia making it this exact same way. No modern oven, just pure dough acrobatics and ancient heat. Now, Armenia. Here, they make lavash, a bread so thin you can almost see through it. Women stretch the dough by hand into huge paper-thin sheets. Then, with a quick slap, they stick it onto the scorching hot walls of a tonir, a deep clay oven. It cooks in literally seconds. When it comes out, it's light, flexible, and slightly blistered. This bread is so important to Armenian culture that UNESCO added it to the list of intangible cultural heritage. And yes, in 2026, families and traditional bakeries are still making lavash the old way. No rollers, no shortcuts, just hands, heat, and skill passed down through generations. Now, India. Everyone knows naan, but most of the naan you eat in restaurants is a modern version. The real traditional one still comes out of a tandoor, a cylindrical clay oven that's been used for thousands of years. The baker takes the dough, presses it against the inside wall of the blazing hot tandoor, and leaves it there. The intense, radiant heat cooks it incredibly fast and gives it those signature charred blisters and smoky flavor. In 2026, naan is popular all over the world, but the authentic ones are still made the ancient way, clinging to the hot clay until they're perfect. Last one, and this technique is next level. Mexican corn tortillas. Before they even start making the dough, the corn goes through something called nixtamalization. The dried corn is soaked and cooked in an alkaline solution, traditionally water mixed with lime. This 3,000-year-old process does something incredible. It unlocks nutrients that would otherwise stay locked inside the grain, and it makes the dough soft and workable. After that, the dough is pressed into thin rounds and cooked on a hot flat griddle called a comal. In 2026, this is still the absolute foundation of Mexican food. Billions of tortillas are made every year, and the best ones still follow this ancient chemical trick from the Mesoamerican world. 5 breads. 5 completely different ancient techniques that somehow survived all the way into 2026. Which one blew your mind the most? The breathing injera, the flying shoti dough, or that 3,000-year-old corn transformation? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which technique you found the most insane.